Hello, ladies, gentlemen, anything else? Welcome to an episode of Expert Reviews. We're here with a WZ-111, or an Alpine Tiger, as it's called here, on airfield. And the email that got sent to replays.wallst basically said, hey, I had a good game in the Alpine Tiger. Could I have done anything better? Where did I funk up? So that's what we're going to look for. We're going to hope that he bollockses something up, and we're going to tell him how he could have done better. Hopefully it doesn't play perfectly, otherwise I'll have absolutely nothing to say to you. What can we read in right as we start here? Ammo loadout is fairly balanced, consumable loadout, nothing to read into there. Vents, rammer, improved aiming. Accuracy of this tank, 0.42. Not the greatest, not the worst for this 122mm gun, slinging 390 alpha damage. We can also read into something with the hit points, 1,550 base on this tank, and we're sitting here with 1,570, so a couple of levels of field mod on this tank. Now, as we get started here, we're going to be using a horsepower per ton ratio of 13.48 with a 600 horsepower engine, moving this 45 ton vehicle around up to its top speed of 50. Which is pretty damn good. Compare this thing to a 112, as people did back in the day. 112 only had 45. Now, this thing does have preferential matchmaking as well, so you will never see tier 10s in it. You can only see a maximum of tier 9 unless you are platooned with a non-premium preferential matchmaking vehicle. Now, we've loaded heat here right off the bat. Let's stop before combat gets heavy and do a quick overview of the combat capabilities of this tank. Let's do gun stats, shall we? I do have 3 cam. Yeah, go me. Gun stats. Look at that gun. 122mm. And this gun has evolved throughout the years, being a preferential matchmaking 122. Used to have 175mm of pen. Let's go through the gun stats as it stands now. 4.8 rounds per minute, giving it a DPM of 1,952.5. 196mm of pen that's buffed AP penetration. 250 with heat. That was a pleasant thing about things like the 112 and the WZ as compared to things like the IS-6 back in the day. The IS-6 had 217 with APCR. These heat shells are certainly far more pleasant. Now, 61mm of pen with HE, 390 alpha damage with standard ammo, 530 with HE, as I said, 0.42 accuracy and a 2.8 second aim time. This certainly is a close quarters fighter. Now, if we're looking at armor profiles on the whole, we've got 120 at the front, 120 at the side, and 120 at the rear. As for the turret, 230 at the front, 120 at the side, and 60 at the rear. Now, some of those statistics are misleading, because the front of the hull, this is 120, and that is 120. Yes, the lower plate is the same thickness as the upper plate, but due to the pike nose armor formation that you can see here, upper plate flat onto you sits around 215, something like that, and the lower plate is certainly a weak spot, 175 effective on average. One thing we should note as well, this engine deck right here that you can see separated beneath the turret, 25mm. 25. That is not good at all, let me tell you. And while on paper it says 120 at the side, that area of armor is only here. Only here. This thing has 80mm of side armor. Don't give it more credit than it deserves. You try and side type as if you have 120 on the side, it's not gonna work. It has 80mm side type like you would in a 112 or 430 V2 even, something like that. Don't give it that much credit. Now, front of the turret actually consists of viable weak spots for tier 9 and 10 opponents. Gunman lead to the left or right is about 250 in these spots here, so worth exploiting on occasion. Also, turret roof, can you overmatch it? No! No, you cannot, because this is 100 millimeters. 100! There's not a single gun in the game that's going to overmatch that, which is interesting considering how piss poor the engine deck is. We do have Cupolas. It's an old meta tank. What do you expect? Cupolas are 150 base armor with an effective value of about 175. So, orientation done, concluded. We understand this tank. Let's understand the enemy team. I didn't unpause it. I tried. Okay. There we go. I did it. All right. What are we looking at on the enemy team? 703, dangerous. Tiger 2, dangerous. Upper plate of the Skoda there. Heat shells doing you a big favour. As we mentioned earlier, 250mm of pen. And against these vehicles, oh, this is very much a meta shift. Very much a meta shift. Like, balance the Skoda in your mind versus the Alpine Tiger. Right? It's just... oh, it's not special. Well, it is special, just in a way that one should not appreciate. One thing that's worth noting as well, and this is true of almost any pike nose tank. Any tank that sports that pike nose armor formation that you can see on the front of this vehicle. Are we gonna... oh! Very lucky on the move there. I mean, it's worth taking, but yes, prioritizing getting out of that location, absolutely the right thing to do. Decent awareness there, and forsaking the position. I was saying, one thing that's almost universally true of pike nose tanks is their positive relationship with reverse side-scraping. We all know what side-scraping is, right? There's a wall there, and you slowly scrape out your side. If you do it in reverse, it can be very helpful in tanks like an Object 257. The IS-4 is god tier when reverse side-scraping. However, I'm looking at the profile of this tank, and I'm thinking, maybe, yep, some tanks have this on the rear of the tank, and if you're reverse side-scraping, if there's a wall there and you're trying to get your gun on someone, I gotta imagine that would be a viable weak spot for people to exploit. How very, very sad that is. Alright. So what are we missing at this point? We're missing a Ferdinand, we're missing a Jagdpanther 2, we're missing a UDES, and we're missing a WZ. We can fill in those blanks, right? On a map like this, we can fill in those blanks. Do we have someone out wide? Maybe. Probably the UDES or the WZ. Jagdpanther could have gone out there, but I'm thinking less likely. Most likely, couple them back here as well. Are there any gaps, any weaknesses in the enemy team right now? Doesn't look like it. And okay, no, do not turn away from that. You're filling in gaps right now, right? You're not doing anything active, which, by the way, is a good play. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something that's going to get you killed, right? This is a dangerous location at this point with the T-28 and the Panchetto Skoda on the side. There is not a viable position to push. Potential TD is at the back as well as the crossfire here. You should not be pushing into this land, and you're not, which is great. But you were looking over here, and you were looking at this guy for half a second. You can gain so much information from that in a situation like this. Look at how viable that guy is as a target for anyone out there. You should be looking at this guy's hit points and saying, okay, what's he taking? Is he taking 490 alpha damage? Well, then I know that's the Ferdinand or the Jagdpanther 2, right? Or very high roll from a UDES. Is he taking 390 alpha damage? Well, then that's the UDES or the WZ with one of his guns, right? So you can gain a lot of information, and that's useful information to not just you, but your team. So you should get that information, and then you should share it. You should say in chat when you're not doing anything else, hey, the Ferdinand or the Jagdpanther 2 is out in this location, because you never know who is going to be watching chat and use that information. There's flank set by the Patriot. Patriot is there. Is he saying that the UDES is out on the flank? Keep an eye on chat. He might ping it. Be an excellent example of what I'm saying. Come on, ping it. Okay. Eyes on the health of that Patriot. See if he bounces any shells that aren't fired by the tanks in front of him. And I like this decision to go here, especially if it's motivated by observation of the Patriot and noticing that he wasn't taking incoming fire from out wide. So, just as much as this Patriot taking damage, we can also learn from him not taking damage, right? He's not taking hits, he's not bouncing hits. What does that tell us? Well, it tells us that this position is not occupied. If it was, this guy would be getting shot. So that tells us the absence of these tanks, the absence of their damage, tells us that they're present most likely around base. I would imagine some in this area, maybe a large contingent of them up on this hill with this Kampfpanzer 07. So, does that give you confidence to push this location? It should, if you can work as a unit. It should also give you confidence to maybe try and get an exploitative shot on the Skoda between his reload if he's going for this guy, right? Ooh, very good. Okay, Skoda's fired one. You know the Skoda's going to be reloading shortly. You know he's going to be reloading. He's reloading now. You know there's no one out wide. Push the Skoda. Push the Skoda. It's worth in that situation. What, you got 320 alpha damage from a Tiger 2. It's worth taking that in that situation. Because this Skoda is... These Skodas are the most dangerous tanks on the battlefield. They are the most dangerous tanks on many battlefields, to be honest, because they are overpowered. But what can that thing do? Like almost 1,000 damage in a clip with like a 4-second intro clip or something like that. Tanks like that, tanks like the Barask, the 50B, the T-57 Heavy, the VZ-55, these autoloaders specialize in taking hits and dealing damage in excess of what you can return to them. It's the basic gameplay of an autoloader, right? You should be powerfully aware of how much power you take away from an autoloader when you put them onto a one-shot. Because so much of the gameplay of the power potential of an autoloader is saying, okay, single shot tank that does 320 damage, you shoot me, and I'm going to shoot you twice, 3 times, 4 times, right? If they are a one-shot, if they will die to that first shot, they cannot do that. That component of their arsenal is not present. So, in this situation, you know he's reloading. You can put an extremely dangerous tank on a one-shot for only taking 1 shot in return, and you can cripple his ability to play to the strengths of his tank for the rest of the game. There's 11 minutes left. From a tactical point of view, it was absolutely worth taking the hit from the Skoda, from the Tiger, and prioritizing damage into this Skoda right there. In my opinion. As it stands, damage into the Tiger, damage is damage. Tiger does go down. Okay. Oh, Skoda takes a lovely hit. You should still get a reload off before this guy. Beautiful. Didn't aim too high, didn't aim too low. Whoa! Well, there's something we didn't expect. That's got to be a relocation, right? He can't have been out there the entire time, otherwise he would have shown himself within the combat of the Patriot. Oh, 703 is just donkeyed big time. And Skoda would be dead if we had prioritized that shot into him earlier. That is a, incredibly foolish and damaging move by the 703. But while you're resetting combat here, maybe worth activating the R function, just pinging out wide there and telling your team that the WZ is now out there. Again, communication to your team is extremely important. Alright, you're spending time in chat to presumably moan about how bad what the 703 did, which you're not wrong, but that time in chat could be used more appropriately. It could be used to communicate information that you have, which your team doesn't. All well and good lamenting about your team doing silly things, we all do it, but communicating that to your team serves no purpose. It doesn't contribute to the win. So why waste your energy doing it? Okay, Skoda on a one-shot. That we like to see. We love to see autoloaders go down to a one-shot. Now, Ferdinand chilling at the back. Jagdpanther and Udez still unspotted, most likely over here, which doesn't make me feel good for this Pangelo pushing up. I don't expect him to have good results at all. That said, I don't think we can push this. I kind of like the hold on this shot, because it's as far forward as you can feasibly go here without... Yeah, you've got the 30 at the back, the WZ, you can't go low. All you can really do at this point is wait. What I would do... Is that Kamppanzer up top, or is he down there? No, he's down there. Okay. So what I consider doing in this circumstance is I'd wait on this Pangelo. The Pangelo's essentially my positional cue. Right? If we look at this map and decide, okay, which tank dying loses us the most ground? It's definitely the Pangelo, right? Because we're not counting ground behind our main force, which would be this SU. But if this Pangelo dies, we essentially lose cover on this entire land. So at that point, if that guy dies, I want to relocate from this corner up onto this hill so that I can overwatch this area of the map. So, hopefully... Oh, the Skoda's not gonna... Oh my word! Okay, what a gift. What a gift. Cheers, lads. Ah, beautiful. I'm surprised, honestly, that our Panchetto in the mid hasn't taken any damage. Okay, whoa! Did that Scorpion just take 300 or so damage? Let's see that again. Scorpion pokes out. .237. That is either a stock gun Udez. Can the Ferdinand go that low? Oh, my map's glitched out. I don't have the last known locations for some reason. That is either a stock gun from a Udez or stock gun from maybe Jagdpanther stock with a low roll. I think 30. Actually, there's a lot of options for stock guns that could be doing that, but that does tell us that one of the enemy TDs has a stock gun. That can certainly be useful information to store in our brain for later. And I'm going to have trouble reading this now, as my map isn't giving me information that our gentleman here would have had in-game. Pangelo on high ground there, we know the WZ is still out wide. Astron dies to the Pangelo. Jagdpanther killed the Scorpion. The Scorpion was there. The only place the Jagdpanther can be, that he can kill that Scorpion in that location, is towards the south of the map, right? He's here. So, we've got a few options. We got there, there, and there. Whatever the case, he's in this area of the map, so we know he's not up there. Which means the viable candidates for dealing that damage to that Scorpion earlier just got reduced. It can no longer be a stock gun Jagdpanther. It can be a Udez, or it can be a Ferdinand. My money's on the Udez, I think. Can the 30 have a stock gun that rolls that low? I cannot remember. Okay, invoking blind fires there do get spotted. I like the idea of a blind fire, but we've got to be careful. We do know that Ferdinand or Udez, most likely Udez, based on the fact that he spotted you at that distance, There's the Ag Panther that we identified earlier. Okay, Udes in chat, kill feed, tells us a lot. And this sort of gameplay, this sort of brain work is very, very important when you are doing what? When you're facing TDs, when you're facing very defensively orientated tanks, you need to pick up on any semblance of information that you can get. That RH died down there. What does that tell us? Well, we can get a better look, but we can make an assumption. He died here. Wait, no, he died here. So, as it turns out, the Udes is up there. There's no other place he can be, apart from maybe a really weird shot from outside, but most likely he's up there. So, useful information. Heat shell going into the upper plate of the Jagdpanther 2 here. Jagdpanther 2, actually quite overrated by a lot of people in terms of its upper plate. Upper plate is about 100 millimeters. Oh, you did? Yeah, that did do damage. It just didn't register. I was going to say, the hell did you bounce 250 off that? Oh, gently does it. Wow, I thought I was going to miss. 720 meters per second shell travel time on the Heat here. On AP and HE, it's 800. Neither of those two statistics are remarkable. They are both pretty damn poor. Do excuse me. So at this point, I'm assuming you've still got the Ferdinand icon on your map. I don't have it on mine because glitches. But I do like overwatching this land, trying to pick up the 07RH if he makes moves. I don't know where you're aiming. I assume you're typing in chat? Okay. Typing in chat, you fools, everyone throwing. You can make better uses of your chat time, my friend. I'll tell you that much. Wait. No, I don't like forsaking this position right now. I don't really like it. The BZ's watching behind you. If something comes up behind you, the BZ's going to see it before it's up your ass, right? You've forsaken a lot of vision here by going away from these bushes. Maybe the 07RH would have been able to sneak around there without you seeing him. It's possible, but it's still worth occupying this position because you're not threatened by this angle while the BZ's still there. So I don't like going this way because you're not actively pushing. You're not actually contributing over here. You can have, basically, you can have the same effect that you're doing here by being there and extend vision. So, previous position was very much superior, in my opinion. And it's good to see you going back to it. Right, let's see. We know that Udez's location. I don't know if you know it in-game, but we do while we are watching. And you want to be... you're not gaining anything by moving about in this situation, right? You're both lowering your cannon rating, and you're probably... yeah, you're over 15 meters away from this foliage, which means its concealment factor is applied to your view range, and you can't see through it. You should be occupying a position where you can extend your vision out here, and you should not be moving, right? So, patience should be the choice here. A lot of patience. And I would be aiming over here, because if someone makes a play, it's most likely to be the Kampfpanzer 07RH going very, very fast. So I'd be aiming here, and I would be concerned at this point because the BZ has relocated. Our sightlines on the map have just changed, haven't they? This BZ, presumably, is going to consider this area of the map, which means you are kind of overlapping now. Now that he's moved, we now no longer have vision on this area. So now it would be appropriate for you to move and turn your attention to this corner and potentially try maybe a bit of sidescraping, not to shoot, right? Bit of sidescraping on this corner to see if you get spotted. Because that tells you if this position is still occupied. You were spotted by it earlier, so if the same tank is still there in the same situation, that gives you information. Let us see how this game develops. Okay. Good. Good planting on your location. Oh, base capture by enemies. That is informative. HE shells being loaded. And he's in, then out of the base. Yak Panther just been spotted, presumably by the proxy. Oh, no, it will be by the BZ. BZ should die in... Okay, I was going to do a countdown, but... Yak Panther 2 gun. Hell yeah. Alright, you got to cover the... Actually, the SU out wide should be fine. What I'd... Let me... Okay. SU can manufacture a shot. I think holding this position is viable right now. I think you've got enough cover that the 07 will have to work hard to hit you. I think going a little forward and trying to work with a crossfire with the SU-130 is a good play right now. You certainly don't want HE still loaded right now. Why are you wide? So going wide out on the corner potentially gets you a better shot without getting proxied. But at the same time, you have so much more ground to cover to get into hard cover. Like, the closer you are to this wall, the steeper or the greater angle this Yak Panther has to turn on, being a non-talented tank, to get his gun on you. So being closer to the corner does offer considerable advantages in that regard. In addition, being here forces him to come into this location where he can feasibly be hit by the SU. My reluctance to go down here is prompted by the fact that we know we've got that RH YOLOing about here somewhere. And this is, in essence, high ground, right? It's high ground above the Yak Panther. It's high ground above the Kanonenpanzer RH if he closes the distance as well. Naturally, this ground is extremely valuable in the current state of the game, so I would be very reluctant to leave this position unless I am forced to. Lucky. Shot came in. What does that tell us? This area, I think. I didn't see exactly where that shot, but we know by the sound of it, it was either UDES, but it can't really feasibly be the UDES, I don't think, or the Yak Panther 07 RH. Very lucky to avoid the shot from the Yak Panther 2 here. I would not be moving. I would be staying in this position, because I can shoot down on the Yak Panther, I can work him on the corner. I don't want to abandon high ground. Out here, I feel far more exposed than I did. You got the right side. Oh, it was the UDES. How about that? And as I say, upper plate of the Yak Panther 2 is not actually that great. Oh, good work by the SU. Base when you load. Holy heck, SU gets taken down. Base reload of the Alpine Tiger 11.98 should be good enough to pick up this WZ if he doesn't give it the respect it deserves. Adhere to a little bit of aim time. You got the... UDES died, actually. Oh, yeah, he died to the SU, didn't he? That's a clean kill. Gorgeous. Okay. Beautiful. Not panicking. Waiting patiently. And at this point... Oh, no. Wow. Wow. 30 with the stock gun. Information confirmed that we had earlier. Cool. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. The Alpine Tiger top speed of 50. That is absolutely lovely. We don't have the mobility with a horsepower per ton of 13.48 to really outmaneuver this guy in close quarters. With heat shells, we can certainly be in that distance. We can certainly extend distance. One thing I wanted to raise, that shot on the Kanonenpanzer RH, potentially a little dangerous. That thing's upper plate is actually quite trolly, so just to note that. Now, what do we do? Where do we go? What we want to do is put ourselves in a position that is incredibly flexible. I like this lock right here, because there is no way that a Ferdinand catches you around this lock unless that Yak Panther is blocking you. There's no way around this lock. You want an area where you can either extend distance or you can constantly proxy him and use the fact that you have a turret to your advantage. Let's see how this progresses. Okay, no, you gotta keep going up. Gotta keep going up in this situation. High ground, my man. Okay, you should be dead, to be clear. If I was this Ferdinand, I would be blazing around the corner and I would kill you. Simple. Like, I have 1,000 health in my Ferdinand. That was a game-losing play from a tactical perspective. I don't understand why you're not dead. Logically, Ferdy just comes around, extends out here and kills you. Shoot down on the upper plate as your tank is angled downwards. It's simple. You're dead. The fact that you're not, you should definitely now try and use this time to try and get this high ground position. The Ferdinand cannot close that distance up a hill. His gun depression is not that great on the Ferdinand. And it's a very slow tank. If you can get him going up a hill and you going down a hill, gives you a massive speed advantage, potentially such that if he's coming around there, you can speed down here and get a shot into his ass as he's turning, which is going to be difficult for him around this location. So high ground right now, my man. High ground. Force him to come up to you in his slow tank destroyer. You should not be sitting on this corner right now. He's got more health than you. Same principle with that autoloader we talked about earlier. He can just say, okay, I'm going to take the damage, I'm going to come round, and I'm going to shoot you. Should not be waiting here right now. Abysmal play by the Ferdinand. But does get a track, and now your Cupola is 150. You've been shut down by a Ferdinand. Yes, exceptionally poor play by both of you, to be frank, at the end there. Ferdy should have come around and killed you right as soon as he had the opportunity. You most definitely should have been using this high ground position. You want to try and put every advantage or every disadvantage on a tank like a Ferdinand as possible. Lay of the land is such a disadvantage for non-turreted vehicles. It is so difficult to navigate against someone playing a turreted vehicle well. And dragging him into this position just makes it so difficult for him. And if he is up here, you have more opportunities to disengage and adapt the state of the game, right? You should not have lost this. But hopefully I've been able to make it clear why you did and give you some tips to improve your gameplay and avoid games like this happening in the future. There were no, well, I say there were no major mistakes. At the end, a major mistake, but for the most part, I really enjoyed this gameplay. I really enjoyed being able to point out the mistakes. I really enjoyed learning from this game. So, thank you very much, everyone, for spending some time with me, and until next time. Farewell.
Humanity peaks at our community manager. He is mentally jacked and strengthening our backs just like the corner weight on the turret of the challenger. Cause if we find ourselves in a crappy mood, you will brighten our day just through your attitude. Steven and Peabody, badass crew. So please take the song as a token of my gratitude.